Welcome to the Erie Wellness Podcast, your go-to source for all things health, wellness, and living your best life right here in Erie. I'm your host, Lauren Brunetti, and I'm so excited to have you here. Each episode will dive into conversations with local experts and wellness professionals who are making an impact in the world of health and well-being. Before we jump in, be sure to like, share, and comment on this episode. We love hearing from you and seeing our community grow. Now let's get started. Today on the Erie Wellness Podcast, I'm so honored to have Jim Davis and Danielle Kitson, the husband and wife team behind Fire and Ice. After Danielle's breast cancer diagnosis in 2022, they began to explore the powerful benefits of therapies like cryotherapy and infrared sauna, not just as a support during her treatment, but as a whole new path to wellness for their family. The results they've experienced are inspiring, and now they're on a mission to make these innovative, science-backed therapies accessible to our community. I cannot wait for you to hear their story and to learn more about their new venture, Fire and Ice, that is opening in June. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Thank you.
I'm really excited for you to share your story with our listeners. You two were in the thick of the work rat race, juggling careers, raising a family, and navigating all the daily demands. And then everything changed when Danielle was diagnosed with cancer. Can you take us back to that season and walk us through what life looked like before the diagnosis and how it sparked such a shift in your family's path?
Absolutely. Yeah. We were both definitely in the rat race of our careers, but this all really began with Danny. So I think I'm going to throw it over to you, Danny.
As Jim said, we were kind of hard charging at the time. We were both in the thick of our careers. We had 11 and 9-year-old boys. They were very busy. I was a partner in a law firm and I was a litigator. So I was in court, high pressure, high stress, contentious with opposing counsel. And I could see over the years, I wasn't sleeping well, and I was, started with 1 glass of white wine a night, became 2, became 3, became 4, became the whole bottle. So I was kind of at that stage. I was working at night, trying to kind of juggle family and my career. Mm-hmm. And then, got this cancer diagnosis, which was such a shock because, I was 47 at the time and both of my grandmothers lived into their 90s. There's no family history of cancer. I remember my aunt saying, how could this even be possible? We're not a cancer family, she said. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, apparently we are now. So that was just a real shock and wake-up call. And it's interesting because in 2015, I had read this book by Dave Asprey, and it was called Headstrong. And at the time I read it and I was like, what is this guy talking about? Like blue light, red light, and all this biohacking. And at that time, I just kind of put the book aside and I'm like, this is not for me, whatever. And then I got this cancer diagnosis and I was like, I remember that book I was reading all those years ago. And I picked it back up and I read it again, and it was like a revelation. And that was kind of the trigger for me to go into this whole world of biohacking and functional medicine and health and wellness. So yes, that to answer your question, we were in the rat race and then this cancer diagnosis, and then we slowly worked our way out of the rat race.
And what kind of cancer were you diagnosed with?
Breast cancer.
Okay.
So thankfully it was stage 1. And I just count my blessings every day that was the case. But I still had to have surgery, radiation, and unfortunately, I was hoping to avoid it, but unfortunately chemotherapy is extremely taxing, but yeah.
And did you find it with an exam or blood work, or how did you hear the
routine mammogram? And so, yes, I always say to all my friends, I'm like, to as many people as I can say, get your routine mammograms and make sure you're making that a priority. Even if you're not from a cancer family and you had you're thinking, I don't really need this because I'm not going to get cancer. Make sure you get it.
Right. Yes. So to our listeners, make sure you're getting those annual mammograms. So, as you navigated the traditional cancer treatments, you also began exploring therapies like cryotherapy and infrared saunas. So, what was that journey like, and how did it influence your approach to health and healing?
Yeah, one of the things we did as Danny was going through the chemotherapy was we rented a hyperbaric oxygen chamber for our house, and that helps the body recover from the effects of the chemotherapy. Um, the nice thing from my perspective of having it in our house was I also got to use it as well and experience like what it was like you know using it and the benefits that you get from it from not from the healing of an injury or from that, but just on basic health and recovery, and it really
Mhm.
makes such a huge difference. That
Can you
one was
share with the listeners what it is?
yeah. So ultimately, it's a pressurized air chamber, and you add uh, additional oxygen in there as well. It has the effect of taking you down out of altitude, which is I think all of your listeners in Colorado should have a relationship with living at altitude and what it means to go down out of altitude even for a little while. You feel great for like the next 3 days.
Mhm.
That's the simplest, broadest brushstroke that you can paint it with. But what it's really doing is adding oxygen into the plasma in between the cells or blood cells, and your body uses that for healing, especially healing tissue. For example, the big medical grade ones, we're always careful to say ours is a mild hyperbaric, but the big medical grade ones, they use those for helping people that are burn victims or pre or
Mm.
post op surgery. It helps their bodies just heal physically faster. When you hear
Fascinating.
about like celebrities like Jeremy Renner when he recovered so quickly from his accident, or Jay Leno when he was victim of or when he burned himself in his garage working on his cars. That's how they healed up so fast. Was they were using hyperbaric chambers to speed their healing. Um, and so yeah, that one was wonderful to have from my perspective. It was great to have in our house, and I think Danielle also found it therapeutic for its specific purpose that we had it.
And how long do you stay in?
About an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. The
Yeah, for me, it was like I would just I got it we rented it for our house during my chemotherapy because it was extremely helpful. And, I would just get home from chemotherapy treatment and just fall into that thing. And it would just like re-energize me and I was able to go
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was really instrumental there. And then for my particular kind of cancer, and everyone's different. And of course, talk to your healthcare provider, not medical advice. But for me, that oxygenation can attack cancer cells and really directly impact the chemotherapy. So I had sort of this multi-pronged approach to fighting the cancer. In addition to chemo,
Mhm.
there is this fasting mimicking program that I was on. And so if you fast leading up to chemo, you starve cancer cells of glucose, which is their primary source of fuel. So
Mhm.
they're weakened. Then you hit them with the chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy is more effective. And then this hyperbaric chamber, then after that, would highly oxygenate my blood and then further attack them. So from my perspective, I was like, all right, this is like full blown world war. And we're like all the different fronts, we're hitting it, right?
We're going in and we're attacking.
Yes, yes, yes.
uh, yeah, the other thing that we did also in concert with that too was we uh, also started using the sauna as you suggested, and that's one that, along with detoxifying, which especially getting heavy metals out of the system, it
Mm.
also like the for both of us, like the biggest thing that it does is just affect our sleep routine. And your sleep impacts everything. Every part of your health and wellness in life is impacted with just better sleep. And that one became kind of our secret weapon, sleeping better, and just kind of overall feeling better. And it became just a good time for the both of us to get together and listen to our podcasts and do our work our business plan out with each other. And so it was that was really just impactful for our overall health.
Does it matter what time of day you do infrared saunas to help with sleep, or is it, do it in the evening or in the morning, or just do it whenever and you notice some patterns in your sleep?
I mean, you will notice the patterns at any time. We usually do it in the evenings typically to, because that's what we're targeting doing is sleeping better. So that seemed to be the most effective.
When you do it in the morning, it can be energizing. So depending on the time of day that you do it, it can have different effects. For us at night, it's really good with winding down, stress relief. For me, I mentioned the uptick in my alcohol consumption. One of the main things it does for me is it's very de-stressing. And so when I get in there, it's relaxing and I don't need the alcohol, which for me was critical. I needed something to take to help me with stress and make it so that I wasn't reaching for Chardonnay. And it really, for me, that was the trick.
Oh, that's such good information for people who are struggling like you were, just with being able to quiet your brain and not going towards some of those other, alternatives that can kind of derail you off your wellness goals.
Yeah.
And for me personally too, it's my secret weight loss weapon. When you're in there, you burn 500 calories just sitting in there or laying down, as I like to do too. You burn calories there, and then it also just makes you more efficient. It's really kind of supercharging your cells and making your whole body more efficient at every process that your body does. And so I just find that when I'm doing it, it's much easier for me to lose weight and kind of maintain my weight.
So, Jim, were you doing all of these things with her while she was going through all the treatments and participating?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I said, the sauna is, that was an easy choice because that's just a nice time to be able to sit in there together. And the hyperbaric, that was always fun just because that was a one person little hyperbaric chamber that we had, and it was always kind of just fun and intriguing for me to sneak in there and see, let's see how this, what this does for me. And like I said, that one, what I really noticed was, how much, like Danielle said, it was kind of energizing, and the mental acuity that you would get after kind of supercharging yourself that way.
And do you think by doing these little things also really gave you just the motivation to start maybe exercising more? You knew that you were on this particular diet to help with the cancer. Can you kind of share kind of how it kind of turned into a whole wellness evolution for both of you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a big part. The other, aside from, you have these small steps that you start taking and saying, oh, okay, and then it becomes a reminder that, oh, all right, the next thing I also need to do is I don't need that extra snack, or I don't need that, extra thing. It also was that we were doing it together, and it's kind of like having a gym buddy, where when you start doing these things together and as a team, then you start to realize, oh, there's a million other ways that we can be making good decisions throughout the rest of the day. And having that one key indicator at the beginning is a great way to kind of trigger that thought process. And then having a partner that's there with you to also trigger that thought process is super helpful.
Right. Or if you're not really motivated to go and they're like, oh, I thought we were doing this today. And you're like, oh yeah, let's go do it,
Yep.
Yeah. For me too, it was just, adding each piece, you start to gain the biological momentum to make some real progress. And, for me, at first, it was just focused on cancer, helping me through the chemo, helping make that treatment more effective. And then over time, that transferred into, helping me recover from the whole process. And then adding pieces. So like adding the cryotherapy was a big one for my energy, because it would be the end of the day. I'd be very tired. I wouldn't feel like working out. I wouldn't feel like cooking dinner. And I would just run over and to a local place and do cryotherapy. And it's quick. And then it would just completely I would get in that chamber and I would be exhausted, depressed, because I have issues with depression and anxiety, and in pain a lot of the time, because I have osteoarthritis and arthritis pain that I'm managing. I would get in there. It's 3 minutes. I would get out and I'd be in a great mood, like energized. My pain was gone. I'm like, how can this be? I don't know, but it's working. And then I would go home and I would have the energy to cook dinner and have a healthy dinner, and still working on the strength training piece. I'm still working on, but yes, we're doing strength training way more than I was doing before all of these treatments and therapy. So and then adding red light and adding, just one piece at a time, you start to really change your whole life.
Oh, that's so awesome. So can you give us a timeline? You were diagnosed in 2022. And then when did the idea of fire and ice kind of start to enter into your thoughts?
Yeah, so that was just a little over a year ago. So, time is going on. Jim and I are in the sauna listening to these health podcasts, all different people. We've got our gurus that we love and we listen to them. And then I started taking this supplement. I will not say the name of the company, but it happened to have some, I think it was green tea extract in it that for some reason with me, it made me manic, like off the walls. And I was like, had all these crazy projects and I was like, just going like, and I also was like dizzy because I knew something was off with this supplement. But one of the things was like, I'm like, we should start a business. We have to let everyone know all of the things we've learned. And I want some of these things that we can have too. Like, so let's start a business that we can go to. So I don't know. And Jim was just rolling with it and was like, okay, I support you, but it was, and then I got off of that supplement and kind of re-regulated to normal. And then both of us are like, oh, what are we doing? I hope this is the right move. I don't know. Yeah.
You're like, actually, is this the right thing I should be doing? He's like, I've just been going along with what you've been wanting to do.
There was definitely one morning there where I woke up and a full business proposal had been written overnight. It was amazing. Danielle, it amazes me every day.
I'm the same way. Some nights I just like go at it, and I'd rather just get it all done and feel better about it than, be thinking about it. And then, sometimes you just got to move with the momentum.
Yeah, but it was also like all of these were, it's fun to say it was spur of the moment. A lot of this also was just practical decisions too. I was especially at a place where it was time for me to, move on from where I was at in my career and, stop being employee 234063. It was time to, move forward and find a different challenge. And so it was a good time for me. It was a good time for us to, I think that, as far as the wellness space and the industry goes, it was a good time to move into that. And it was well timed and just kind of the right time for us to be doing that as well. So, it was, it just kind of all the things kind of aligned for us. And
Jim was also working night shifts, and that really bothered me. As I started learning more about health and wellness, we realized, that night shift work is carcinogenic in and of itself and really bad. And so just for our family, we were both thinking like we need a career change for him and for me. And so this was the perfect solution to that.
So I wanted to go back to, I know you said you had gotten the book that had kind of like gotten your brain thinking about maybe starting to implement this during your cancer treatments, but was it a doctor that was also encouraging you, or you just started to do more research? Did you essentially decide to like start to, rent things and bring them into your house?
Yeah, I started doing more research and listening to more podcasts. And for me personally, I was disappointed in kind of the standard medical system, my primary care physician, my oncologist. I did not feel like they had the answers, honestly, other than the standard of care.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to, I was in great hands in terms of chemotherapy. Absolutely. 100% trusted my doctor. But when it came to things like nutrition counseling and alternative therapies and these very cutting edge science-backed modalities, they're just not either. They are not educated about it. I think they get in medical school these days less than a day of nutritional teachings. And so I really didn't feel supported in that way. And so either they don't know about it or they're not able to do anything or say anything about it because they're worried if they veer from the standard of care that they could be hit with a lawsuit. So I feel like there was sort of a wall I hit with my oncologist and my PCP in terms of what they could do to support me. And then, so I just started voraciously reading and listening to podcasts and learning. And that is really, what has supported me the most in my journey. And they're super busy. It was like my poor oncologist, she was always running late. She, only had 30 minutes with me and then she had to run. And it just felt like, that poor woman, like, it's not her fault. She doesn't have time to learn about this stuff. I told her, I was like, we're thinking about buying an infrared sauna. And she's like, what's that? I'm like, okay. All right, thanks. And I literally felt bad for her because she was up on it, on all the things with, chemo, as she should be. And I was very thankful for her, but like, she did not have time for anything else beyond that scope.
Right. So can you guys share what is Fire and Ice and what do you guys have planned for this new venture of yours?
Yeah. We are, a modern wellness spa that's, we're going to have 11 different services in there. We're going to have to start with, a in-body scanner, which is measures bone and muscle density and tracks data as far as your overall journey. Then we're going to have a walk-in cryo chamber. The cryo chamber it's great because it as Danny said earlier, it doesn't take very long, but it has a lot of great benefits, such as helping with bone or with inflammation in joints and muscles, and reducing muscle pain, improved circulation. Then you also get a calorie burn with it because you're lowering your body temperature or your skin temperature down, and it takes your body a while, like several hours, to warm itself back up. And so it warms itself back up by burning calories. And so it depends, how much calorie you get depends on the individual, but it's usually somewhere between anywhere from 400 to 800 calories. Whenever you burn calories to that extent, that night, your body makes sure that you're going to shut down and you will sleep like a baby after a good calorie burn like that. And then you also, it's the splash cold water effect on your face effect, where when you do that, you get an energy boost. It's great for that 3 p.m. slump that I think we all face. So that one's, you get a whole lot of benefits out of the cryo chamber for 3 minutes of your time. It's a wonderful service. Along with that, we're also going to have localized cryotherapy treatments for, straight to the elbow if it's a tennis elbow thing. That can also function as, for cryoslimming, for cryofacials, and a number of aesthetic services like that. But we're gonna have the localized cryo treatments. We're gonna have the Halo Red Salt booth. That's a really interesting one. It's good for the respiratory system. That one is microparticles of salt in the air, and the term is it is mucoactive, so it gets all the junk in your lungs moving around, and it's great for allergy season, fire season, people that that just want or need some extra respiratory system help. We're going to have the infrared sauna and a cold plunge in the same room, so you can have contrast therapy, should you choose. So we'll have a multi-person infrared sauna, and friends can go back and forth from sauna to cold plunge as much as they'd like. Again, the cold plunge functions much like the cryo chamber, so the benefit of doing contrast therapy between the two is really about circulation. Your blood vessels are going from the hot where they're expanded to the cold where they're contracted and open and close and open and close, and it helps get toxins out of the system. We talked a lot earlier about the hyperbaric chamber. We're going to have a 2-person custom-built hyperbaric chamber, which is one that you can sit upright in rather than lay down in like the small one we had. You'd have 2 people in there, so that makes it a lot more of a social experience where you can have, it's something that you can share that time with somebody else.
And can you bring in headphones or books and things like that when you're in there?
Absolutely. It's a good place to get through those daily emails. You're in there anyway. So yeah, that's that one is perfect for that. The other one we're going to have is the lay down red light bed for red light therapy, which red light therapy stimulates collagen production, which is the fuel your cells are using to rebuild tissue. That's why all the athletes are using, red light therapy is after a workout is to help them build that muscle tissue. But I think the place that most people notice it the most is with skin health. It's using collagen to repair itself and look and feel younger, but it also helps again with inflammation. So it's funny that so many of our services are circle around 2 different words: inflammation, getting rid of inflammation, and helping get more sleep. They all kind of, several of them do the same things as far as that goes. And yeah, the red light is great for inflammation and muscle recovery. Did I forget any?
Yeah, we've got a couple more. I mean, we've got a room that is kind of our relaxation room. I mean, all of our services are pretty relaxing, but we've got a 0 body dry float bed, which is the dry equivalent of a float tank. They have these places where you go and you just float in salt water, and it's kind of a sensory deprivation experience. And ours is a dry float, so you don't have to get wet and you don't have all that kind of mess. And but you are buoyed up by the salt, so it's a little bit like a waterbed, but with salt water. So it takes all of the pressure off of your body and off of your spine in terms of the gravity that we all deal with every day. And then we're going to pair that with other relaxing therapies and treatments. So your vagus nerve is a nerve that runs from your brain all the way down through your digestive system. And it really is responsible for whether you're in a sympathetic state, which is kind of your fight or flight, anxious state, or your rest and digest state where you're relaxed, you're calm, your system calms down. And we've got this vagus nerve stimulator device that kind of puts you into that parasympathetic restful mode that we'll have. And then we'll have some enhancements like essential oils treatments. So you'll get that spa-like experience, but for like a third of the price, and also get the decompression on your spine as well. So that's one. And then the last one is compression. We've got Normatec compression boots and arm sleeves and hip sleeves as well. And that is almost like a blood pressure cuff. It inflates and puts pressure on different parts of your body and compresses your body throughout. And that really moves your lymphatic system. So it promotes detoxification, muscle recovery, and also like an overall sense of just relaxation and wellness. And actually, Jim and I do those every morning when we have coffee. And so we will have a wellness lounge at the front in the lobby where people can have coffee and hang out and
fun.
Yeah, get their compression therapy. So
the squeezies.
Yeah, that sounds like a lovely Saturday morning. It's like doing some health and having some coffee and just hanging out. One thing that makes Fire and Ice stand out, at least for me, was your focus on community. You've created space for things like healthy date nights, 30th birthday parties, bridal parties. Why was this important for you to make something that people can experience together?
You know, there's the personal side of it and there's the practical side of it. For me, like, there is a very practical side of it, whether it's your diet or whether it's your fitness routine or, you know, anything you're trying to do to promote your own health and wellness, you're always more consistent and better off with a partner, with somebody else there with you. It helps keep you accountable. It helps, you know, just to make this a more pleasurable experience for everybody. That's, you know, from a success rate, that's the most practical thing you can do. But there's also just the more personal side of it where, you know, it's nice to have that, like, we want to be a third space for people to, you know, come with friends and, you know, enjoy doing something healthy and feeling better rather than just, you know, meeting up at someplace where you eat a bunch of terrible food that makes you feel awful. And, you know,
well, and like you were saying, Danielle, it's like, you know, I feel like a lot of women are like, let's go meet up for wine. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah. Danielle, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I think, you know, I lived in a world and still fight kind of the world of like, happy hour is the social thing, right? With all my girlfriends. And I've been trying to, and opening Fire and Ice is going to really help me, you know, kind of move more toward like, hey, let's get our oxytocin on in the sauna instead and do contrast therapy. It's fun. It's, you know, we're going to get the same laughs and the same stories, but we are going to burn 500 calories instead of consuming 2,000, having hangovers. And, you know, it costs a ton of money in this day and age to go out even for, you know, drinks and apps. So, so I really wanted a place where the services could be for more than one person. So, you know, we've got a 3-person salt booth. We've got a 5-person sauna. 2 people can go in the cryo chamber and 2 people can go in the hyperbaric. 2 people can get the compression together. And then our singular services, you can trade. So one person could be in the red light bed while the other's doing the dry float. And so the whole thing is designed really for social wellness, as we refer to it. So that's really what we want to promote.
Oh, that's so fun. I love all of that. So we are recording this in the spring and even the summer. It's prime allergy season for so many people. And a lot of people are dealing with itchy eyes, congestion, and that overall fog. Can you explain how the Halo salt therapy can help bring some relief to those people dealing with allergies?
Yeah, absolutely. The Halo salt booth works with microparticles of salt in the air. that are mucoactive. So they get your lungs and sinuses cleared out and help move those contaminants out. It also is paired with red light therapy as well in the salt booth. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 on that. It's ideal for fire season. It's ideal for allergy season, for people that are experiencing asthma, for people that are needing to clear out or improve their respiratory system, whether it's people for competitive reasons or just suffer from congestion in general. So
and how long do the treatments last?
Those are 20 minutes.
Okay.
I believe. Am I correct, Danielle?
15 to 20. Yep. No, that's right.
15 to 20.
And you can do them in our booth. You can do just salt, just red light, or the combination of both. We recommend the combination of both, but that also can dictate how long you're in there.
For someone that was dealing with allergies, like how many times do you think they would need to try it before they might see some results?
It takes a couple of times just to kind of acclimate your body to it. And it's kind of funny that the first time or two, depending on the person, you don't get quite as much going on. You're like, hey, what's going on here? And then like the third time, it opens up. Grab the Kleenex box. Then after that, it's usually you go into like a maintenance mode of like once a week, right? Okay. It depends on this time of year too, right? If it's fire season or if it's allergy season, you're probably going to want to do it more depending on need. But typically like maintenance mode then is once a week. But you got to kind of, a lot of these services you need to front load several times to really get them going, and then find yourself into a maintenance mode of, usually once, maybe twice a week on most of them. But that one in particular, it takes a couple of stabs at it, and then finally your body's like, oh, I see what's going on here, and starts reacting the way you want.
For someone listening who's curious and maybe skeptical about some of these therapies, what would you say to help them take the first step?
The first step is on us. We're happy to offer a free consultation and service to let people try these for the first time, so that it's not so intimidating, so they're not feeling like this is something that's I'm not sure if I want to continue doing or to what extent I want to do it.
And kind of depends on how much they want to nerd out, like for the nerds, well, we can have the collection of studies that they can go to and read the studies themselves, or, for people who have time in the car and want to listen to podcasts, we've got those too, or want to read books or listen to Audible books, got those too. So we want to be a resource for people so they can learn as much or as little. Some people are like, nope, I know how it feels great. I don't really need to know anymore about that. Like something's going on with my cells. I don't really care what it is. Yeah.
I've definitely talked to some people who, when it came to the red light therapy, I was like, oh, this is actually really fascinating what's going on at the cellular level and with the mitochondrial health and helping you out that way. And they were pretty much like, you had me at it makes my skin look good.
Right. And it's warm in there. And well, you guys are really living proof that like starting to implement these things can really change lives. Between the two of you, you've lost over 150 pounds collectively and are improving blood markers. So how do you feel? Like, what are some changes that you two have noticed over the last 3 years?
That's part of this too, is like putting a regimen together and starting to just move more and, finding our way to, feeling better every day. And it shows up in small ways. It shows up in how much energy you have at the end of the day to, make dinner or to hang out with our two boys, or it shows up, in what you're doing in the morning routine, and how much, I used to wake up more tired than I was before I went to sleep. Now I wake up actually refreshed and having, had a better night's sleep, and
Mhm.
really focused a lot more early. And you feel more like I did in college, where or first thing in the morning I was ready to like knock out some, intellectual projects in a way that I hadn't been in years. And you don't really, it sneaks up on you, you don't really notice that until it's gone, right? You don't recognize how much the weight of it all was until you start to relieve yourself of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And for our whole family too. So my mom lives with us and she is 77. And then our boys obviously are with us. And so all of us are doing these things. And it's just interesting. Like Jim and I are on a journey. All of us are on a journey that will last our whole lives. And so we're not all the way there yet. Like we're very obese, like both of us very morbidly obese. And so we're still, on the journey of getting healthier and losing weight. And my mom in her 70s has lost over 50 pounds. Like it's
Wow.
it's
Awesome.
amazing. And then the boys, we have, when they have health issues, these things help too. The sauna in particular,
Mhm.
for promoting their immunity, and our 13-year-old's skin. He's now starting to raise like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, acne coming in.
Not fun. I have delved. Poor Jim. We're on this like subscription program for blood work, and so
Mhm.
every 6 months we get this full array of blood marker testing with, I think it's over 120 blood markers that they test. So, and my mom is just recently on this too. So we're able to see over time how things are improving. Things like there's a blood marker called CRP, which is C-reactive protein, which measures your inflammation in your system. And that has gone way down for both of us. And fasted insulin. So we were both very insulin resistant. Our bodies were not very stubborn to burning fat. And we have changed that big time. We're no longer insulin resistant and are working on it or burning the fat. We're on the fat burning journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just, and all of those blood markers just to kind of know how everything looks and kind of stay on top of it. It's been a good, we've just greatly improved. And these things are kind of the secret weapons that are letting us, get there.
Well, congratulations. Are you guys using these every day, every couple of days now? Are you kind of, now that you're in maintenance mode, kind of essentially?
Some of them, a few of them were waiting until we get our doors back open and at Fire and Ice.
Right. You're like, we're not paying for it anymore for our
Yeah,
house.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I can tell you the plan. So there's the now and there's the plan. So the now is I'm in the sauna every single night.
Mhm.
Jim is with me like 2 to 3 times a week in the sauna because I'm just a huge infrared sauna fan. Like I think that has like revolutionized my whole life. And I do red light twice a week and cryotherapy twice a week. But I'm a big biohacker. So when we have our studio open, the plan is to do red light and cryo every single morning, and then infrared sauna in the evening, and then we're going to use all the services, but the other things just kind of here and there on the weekends or socially with friends. And but that's the plan.
Well, I'm excited to see where this business takes all of you, and so awesome that even your mom is getting involved in all of this too. That's awesome.
Yeah. She's bipping and bopping around to her Pilates classes, and like, she's a real inspiration.
As we all should be, right? We shouldn't be dreading being in retirement and, just in being able to enjoy the last part of our life. Where can people find you, learn more, and when can they experience Fire and Ice for themselves?
We are excited to be opening our doors in June. But until then, for sure, fireandIceLongmont.com. You can sign up for our interest list, where we give a free Friday giveaways every day or every once a week, and keep everybody posted on how things are progressing. and also follow us on the social media on Facebook and Instagram.
And where in Longmont are you going to be?
We're going to be at Village at the Peaks, which is right next to the movie theater, Regal Cinema, and Spitz Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Whole Foods is in that same parking lot, which I think they're going to be an amazing partner for us. Gold's Gym is also in that same complex. So we've got some really amazing partners over there that we can work with, and we kind of hope to be a one-stop shop for everybody's wellness and recovery.
Right. You can go work out. You can go sit in the red light. You can go to Whole Foods and buy some healthy foods on a Saturday. That's awesome.
Yeah. You can come sit in the sauna after a movie. I think we're going to be in a really fun spot for all the different things we can do.
Well, Jim and Danielle, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, and your heart, your passion for wellness, and your commitment to helping others feel better from the inside out is very inspiring. And it's clear that Fire and Ice isn't just a business, it's a mission born out of love and lived experience. So to everyone listening, if you're looking for a fresh start or just curious about some of these modalities, be sure to check them out. Until next time, keep prioritizing your wellness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Erie Wellness Podcast. I truly appreciate you being a part of this journey. If you loved today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. For more daily wellness inspiration and behind-the-scenes content, be sure to follow me on Instagram at the Erie Wellness Podcast. I can't wait to connect with you again soon.